Hey everyone, it's finally going to happen, something I always wanted to do, show my Korean movie collection. I will keep this introduction as brief as possible because we have a lot ahead of us and I will most likely split this up in multiple parts. I started collecting Korean movies in the year 2003 until I stopped collecting movies in general around 2015. I do not know exactly how many Korean movies I own, but it's definitely a 3-digit number. If I would have to guess, maybe around 300. And since I stopped collecting in 2015, we unfortunately will not see many of my favorite recent Korean movies, which is a shame. But maybe one day we can make a sequel to this series. I want to add that all movies in my collection are genuine originals. There's no pirated or copied shit and no bootlegs. Since I had to move a lot in the past few years, my collection unfortunately got quite battered up. Some of my movies are really in horrible shape and they look really rough, which I'm really sad about. So you have been warned. And now I would say, without further ado, let's kick off with the first part of my Korean movie collection. Enjoy! So let's kick off with our first movie, and just as a note, I picked them out randomly off the shelf, so there's no specific order whatsoever. This one here is the Korean First Press limited edition of A Werewolf Boy, an interesting mixture of, I would say, horror, romance and drama, with the wonderful Park Bo-young and everyone's darling Song Joong-ki. I actually really do like the packaging, very artful and stylish, especially the sleeve. The motifs are cool, I do like the colors. And this here is the actual DVD with Joong-ki on the cover, the Werewolf Boy, and Park Bo-young, very nice picture on the back. And it comes as a 2-disc edition with a lot of extras. Next one is My Girlfriend is an Agent, which I actually only got because of Kim Ha-neul, an actress that I really liked back then. But this movie turned out to be a really okay-ish action comedy. Actually quite enjoyed it. And it is also dubbed the Korean version of Mr. and Mrs. Smith. So if you look for something stylish, fast-paced, something funny, I think the movie will quite suit you. This is again, I think, a first press edition of the movie, coming again with 2 CDs or 2 DVDs, just like the Werewolf Boy we just saw. A movie that I actually really love, Steel Cold Winter. The Korean title is just Sonyo, starring the amazing and talented Kim Yeon-hee on the right side of the cover here. Unfortunately, she never had a big breakthrough, so we didn't really see her in many more movies. Something that I'm really sad about. And as mentioned, I do really love this movie because it combines 2 of my favorite genres. On the one side, really beautifully shot art house dramas, and on the other side, really suspenseful thrillers. This movie does everything right, from cinematography to story to characters, and I would say it is a hidden gem. I definitely recommend it if you like slow-paced thriller movies. It is really a gorgeous movie. Once again, I think it is a first press edition, but I'm not really sure. Same motif as on the sleeve. This is the back side. And we have a single disc edition with a small booklet here. Oh, actually, this is not a booklet. Those are just photo cards, but definitely a very cool movie and I do recommend it. Next is a very rare and limited edition box of 5 of Kim Ki-duk's movies, and scandals aside, Kim Ki-duk is still one of my favorite art house directors, put out some really great works, and in contrast to many other people, especially the international audience, I do prefer his darker earlier works over his more lighter recent works. For example, 2 of my favorite Kim Ki-duk movies are Address Unknown and Bad Guy, which we are also going to see later. So as mentioned, this box comes with 5 of his movies: Birdcage Inn, The Coast Guard, Spring, Summer, Fall, Winter and Spring, probably his international breakthrough movie, Samaria, which is also well known internationally, as well as Binjip 3 Iron. As mentioned, this is a very rare box. It came out in the early 2000s, I believe, or mid 2000s. And if you still can get it somewhere today, it's probably going to be very expensive. So here are the movies that come with the box. This is Binjip 3 Iron. And I think this also has like an additional DVD with extras. That's the first one. The next two movies are Birdcage Inn and The Coast Guard on the right side. I actually do really like The Birdcage Inn, one of his very first works, and also a bit gritty and more darker. I'm not a big fan of The Coast Guard, I have to admit. Spring, Summer, etc. in white and Samaria on the right side. I was not a huge fan of his Spring, Summer movie, even though it is a really good movie, but I didn't like all the animal cruelty that you could see. Samaria was a work that I enjoyed much more, also because it had very strong lead actresses. And that's the Ki-duk box. In front of us, probably my favorite Korean movie of all times, by Song Il-gon, Spider Forest. A very David Lynch-esque piece, a mixture between drama, horror, thriller, love story. A great independent production. I absolutely love the pacing, the characters, the plot and the twists. That is really a movie that I can watch over and over again, and it still keeps me on the edge of my seat. I also do like the handheld camera work. For me, this is an absolute masterpiece, and in general, I really love the work of Song Il-gon, the director. This movie was also released internationally, so it shouldn't be too hard to actually grab a copy, and I don't think it's very expensive since it is not a big blockbuster. So I think you can get it relatively cheap. If you find it somewhere, Spider Forest, get it. It is really worth it. It is an amazing movie. It is a bit slow paced, but if you love that stuff, you will definitely love this movie. The Bow is another work by Ki-duk, another art house drama about an old fisherman living on a houseboat and raising a small girl. And after a while, when the girl gets in contact with the outer world, conflicts arise and the perfect paradise they had starts to crumble. A movie with a lot of metaphors and a little bit of magic, but definitely worth a watch if you like movies like that. I also believe this is an original Korean edition of the movie. I'm not sure if there was a limited first press edition, and if so, if that is the limited first press edition, but it definitely is some edition, and I actually do really like the artwork here. So we have some goodies, it seems like a postcard and a small booklet. And that's the bow for you. Next is one of my absolute favorite Korean comedy movies. This is Sex is Zero with Ha Ji-won and Im Chang-chong. This movie is basically American Pie but funny. Has some good porkies, I would say. Definitely an R-rated movie, but oh my god, is it funny. I really laughed my ass off when I first saw that movie, and this is the very first Korean edition of the movie that came out back then, as far as I know. Here's the actual DVD case, and again, another 2-disc edition of that movie. I'm probably one of the 3 people in the world that know this movie, Plastic Tree, another very gritty indie art house production. If you ask me, another hidden gem, definitely for mature audiences, has a lot of, I also believe, sexual violence. It has been a while since I've seen this movie, but I can remember that I really liked it. I especially loved the ending and how the whole plot did turn out in the end. So once again, this is the sleeve, and the back side of the sleeve also had a very strong cast of unknown actors. Definitely another movie I would recommend if you enjoy that genre. I do believe this horror movie got mixed reviews. This is Our Point, a story about Korean soldiers in the Vietnam War. And as I mentioned, this is basically a horror film, both graphic but also psychological. I love the mixture. And this is another movie of which I loved the ending. And what I also really do like is this Korean limited edition here with a very cool sleeve, and it actually has a lot of nice extras, and the packaging is really gorgeous. If I can get it out, actually, give me a second. Oh yeah, the mofo really gets stuck in here, but here are finally the contents of this DVD release. So you can open that one up, and it is really a gorgeous release. So with a lot of extras, I think you have booklets and photo cards. I'm not going to show everything here, but just that you can see that it is really a gorgeous release. Mission 1 is the first disc with the actual movie, and I do believe we have a Mission 2, and this is the bonus DVD with all the extras. As I said, a really amazing and beautiful edition. I'm really glad I got that one. And again, a recommendation for all horror fans. This is a movie that I maybe saw like 12 or 13 years ago. It's called Flying Boys. I cannot remember much, to be honest. I know it's a coming-of-age drama about some teenagers and their struggles growing up in Korea. As mentioned, I cannot remember any details of the movie, but I can remember that I actually quite enjoyed it. It is not a hit movie by any standard, but it is definitely a nice little movie to watch if you have some time to spend. Another nice edition with 2 discs, and that's Flying Boys. M, another great movie that comes in great packaging. Do not confuse it with the German M by Fritz Lang. This movie is from Im Yong-se, and it's another very well-made mix of drama and thriller, a bit Hitchcock-esque with very strong images, very slow-paced. But if you have the patience, you really get rewarded. I do love this movie, and I do love the style, even though I normally am not a big fan of Im Yong-se's movies. And as mentioned, this one comes in a really gorgeous edition with a plastic slipcase, and it really looks neat, and it reflects really the art and the style of the movie. We do have a booklet here as bonus. And this is again a multi-disc edition, has also a very strong cast, and it's just a movie that is absolutely gorgeous. As you can see, it is a 3-disc release, very much worth the money it has costed back then. Voice of a Murderer, a very solid thriller/drama with veteran actor Sol Kyung-gu, I believe released in 2007. I do not have much to say about this movie since I saw it a long time ago and I forgot all about the details, but this is basically a story about a father whose little daughter gets kidnapped and the kidnappers terrorize him via phone. This is another first press edition, I do believe, with 2 discs, and again, very beautifully made. Let me randomly throw in Monstrum, a movie which was released quite recently. Actually, I just got it yesterday, and this is the German edition of the movie, the German DVD release. It is basically a historical monster piece, and the reason I got it was because Ghostface Hyeri stars in that movie. So you can see it's still shrink wrapped. I have not unpacked it yet. Maybe let's do it very quickly so that we can look inside the actual release. And this is why I really hate German DVD releases. They are forced by law to put these ugly big age restriction emblems on the cover of every release, and it basically ruins all the cover motifs. And as a collector, this really pisses me off. So once again, this is the front and this is the back side of the sleeve. As mentioned, I have not seen this movie yet, so I cannot tell you if I think this is a good or a bad movie, but time will tell. At some point I'm going to watch it. Really looking forward to it. I really want to see Hyeri performing in it. Wet Dreams 2 or Wet Dreaming 2, the sequel to Wet Dreams 1. Basically a very mediocre and forgettable, dirty little comedy flick about schoolgirls growing up and being all crazy about them boys. The reason why I got this movie is because of Son Hae-bin. I've been a really big fan of Son Hae-bin since 2004 or 2005, and I really got everything she participated in. Movies, dramas, K-pop releases. She's still active mainly as an actress today, and this is one of her 2 early cinematic releases that she put out in the 2000s. I do like the physical release of that movie. Back then, KD Media released a few movies in this glossy, mirrory packaging, and it looks really cool. Unfortunately, it also wears out over the years and it might look very ugly after some time, but nevertheless, some very cool editions that were released back then. So this is the sleeve and this is the actual DVD with a similar cover motif, the backside, and I do believe this is another 2-disc release. Yep, probably much more than this movie deserves, but yeah, if you like those American Pie-esque movies, you might want to give it a shot, but it's actually much worse. I warned you, don't blame it on me. Wait a freaking moment. I've just noticed something that I've never noticed before. This looks like an authentic and real signature, and I think it says Ji-hun, and that would be an authentic signature of Lee Ji-hun, the main male star of the movie, as you can see him here. I would have preferred Son Hye-bin's signature, but I guess that's also cool. Another movie featuring the couple Ha Ji-won and Im Chang-chong. We already saw them together in Sex is Zero. This movie is called Miracle on First Street, kind of a mix between drama and comedy, and it is about a residential area that is about to get bulldozed, about to get destroyed, and our two residents here fight against that. So in the beginning they really hate each other, but the situation brings them together and then they fight together side by side. Sounds very cliche, I do admit that, but it is actually a really good movie, don't be fooled. And this is the Korean special edition. I do believe this is another 2-disc edition. A lot of movies that get released in Korea, the first edition always comes with 2 discs, and later if they re-release such movies, they produce them cheaper, and most of the time they're just getting re-released as 1-disc edition. That is something that happens very frequently, or at least did happen very frequently with Korean movies, and that is Miracle on First Street, and it has a small booklet as bonus. Card is a drama based on true happenings, and the name Card comes actually from shopping cart. And this is a drama about female staff of a big supermarket chain or shopping mall chain that are all about to get fired, I believe, but they fight against that with all means. Again, that doesn't sound like much, but it is very skillfully told, and you will feel with those characters. I also do believe this is one of the first bigger movies of actress Chon Woo-hee, who became a relatively big player in Korean cinema and who I actually really enjoy watching. And I do think this is a very gorgeous edition for this movie. I do love the blue, I do love the shopping cart, I do love the whole style of this edition, and as you can see it comes with a relatively thick booklet as goodie, and I do believe another 2-disc set. So this is the cover of the actual DVD and the back side, and let's open it up. Yep, it's another 2-disc set. So as mentioned, this movie tells a everyday drama, and if you are into stuff like that, I guess I can recommend this movie to you. It is very well shot and the plot is told in a skillful way. This is another one of my all-time favorite Korean movies. This is Take Care of My Cat, another coming-of-age drama about a bunch of high school girls that just graduated and now have to go out into the big world, find jobs, and it is basically about them drifting apart and how they deal with this, how their friendship suffers from it, etc, etc. This movie is directed by female director Chung Jae-eun, and it has one of the most talented Korean actresses ever, Bae Do-na. She actually really is my favorite Korean actress. When it comes to acting skills, she's a really huge talent, and you might have also seen her in international productions like Cloud Atlas or Sense8, the Netflix series. That's the girl in the middle of the cover here, by the way. And I'm also a big fan of the girl on the left side, Eo-won, a really gorgeous actress. What I also really do love about this movie is the soundtrack, a very nice electronic soundtrack with a great title song by group Byol. The song is called 2, and the movie also skillfully catches the scenery of Incheon, a very famous harbor city in Korea next to Seoul. This here is unfortunately not a Korean edition of the movie. This is the Hong Kong version of the movie. I bought that one because back then I was a poor student and I could not afford the Korean version, but nevertheless, it is a nice and decent looking version. I can live with that one. And as mentioned, it is one of my favorite movies. I'm still very glad I do have that one in my collection. This is Natural City by director Min Byung-chun, and it is often called the Korean Blade Runner. It has a lot of similarities with Blade Runner. It is probably not as sophisticated as the original, and I do know this movie is terribly flawed, but I love it. I love it nevertheless. If you like science fiction, give it a chance. You might love it, you might hate it. Some things are really over the top and some things are really well done. And it has a very strong Yoo Ji-tae in it, an actor that I really do like. This one is the first press 2-disc limited edition from Korea. And as you might be able to see, this one comes in a tin box. I still have it sealed and I don't want to unpack it now. So you just have to believe me that it is a really beautiful 2-disc edition. I also do have another tin box edition of this movie, a 2-disc limited gold edition. This is actually a German release of that movie. So this is another DVD release coming in this golden tin box or in this golden tin sleeve. Actually pretty cool. Let's have a short look inside. I actually cannot really remember the actual DVD packaging, but here it is, as mentioned, German edition of Natural City. And I do swear by God, this is the last edition of the movie I have. This is actually the limited Blu-ray edition from Korea by KT Media. I can remember this one was really fucking expensive when it came out, like $45 or something. But I absolutely wanted to have it because, as mentioned, I really do love that movie. And I also do really love the packaging of this edition. Really gorgeous. And it comes with some extras. We do have this great, neat little booklet here with a lot of scenes from the movie. You can see it is very futuristic. Actually do really love it. Here you have a bit of the Blade Runner influence. Really awesome. And here is the actual Blu-ray packaging. I also do love that motive. It is a very beautiful movie. I do believe it is very well shot. The director comes from commercial films and he really has an eye for visuals. This is maybe something that the movie has in common with Blade Runner and its director Ridley Scott. This is a 1-disc edition, so let me get that disc out very quickly so I can show you the motive on the back. Visually a very striking movie. You can argue about the plot, but as mentioned, again, I do love this movie. Check it out! This is yet another Blu-ray release, a German release of Ki-duk's The Isle. It was either that one or the movie Wildcard, which was the first Korean movie I ever did see, and it is majorly responsible for my love of Korean cinema and Korea as a country, as a society. And I do believe without that movie I would have never fallen in love with Korea. If you know that movie, that must sound really weird because it really shows the dark sides of Korean society, as many movies by Ki-duk. But I was just so fascinated by this different world. It was almost like a cinematic culture shock, and I just wanted to know more about this country and the people that live there. So The Isle always has a special place in my heart. This is also one of the 2 editions I own of that movie. I also have a German DVD release. But this is also a very beautiful release by a German company called REM, Rapid Eye Movement, who actually put out a lot of great special editions of Asian movies, not just Korean, but also Japanese. Like they have a great edition of Audition, the Japanese movie, for example. And it's a really great and gorgeous cover motive, actually. Here is the back of the release. And maybe as you can guess by the images here on the back side, the movie works a lot with metaphors and strong images. It is another slow-paced art house drama movie. Very strong movie, love it. Would recommend it if you have a strong stomach. This is actually front of the Blu-ray. packaging, really gorgeous, artful still shot here on the cover. And that actually speaks for the whole movie. I really do love that movie, even though it's very dark and gritty, but that maybe is the reason why I do love it. I also do like how REM has those really simple designs, simple colors for the releases. I really do like that label, and we do have a kind of thickish booklet as extra here. Okay, this is actually just their other releases, a catalog of other releases they have, and here is actually a booklet with information and more images of the movie, more still shots. Very, very well made. Which brings us directly to another art house drama, this time by Korean director Sang-soo. This is called Tale of Cinema, with one of my favorite Korean actors, Kim Sang-kyung, and I do believe Ji-won also stars in that movie. As with many other Sang-soo movies, this one deals about a triangle relationship. I actually cannot remember the exact plot, but if you know Sang-soo movies, they all follow basically the same scheme. And even though some are weaker than the others, in general, they're still very well made. This is not my favorite Sang-soo movie, but it's definitely a good addition to his filmography. If you ask me, my favorite Sang-soo movie actually is on the occasion of remembering the Turning Gate. I would definitely recommend that one. A very beautiful edition, white, with a hardcover sleeve. I actually do really like it. And this is the actual DVD packaging of the movie. As mentioned, this is Kim Sang-kyung, probably my favorite Korean actor. I really do like him. He's really great in whatever he does, especially in one of my favorite Korean movies, Memories of Murder, which we're also going to see in the next part. Yet another drama of Sang-soo is Woman is the Future of Man, with a similar topic as in most of his other movies, triangle relationship. I would say Woman is the Future of Man is maybe one of the weaker Sang-soo movies. It's still watchable, it's still okay. By the way, honestly, I have no idea why my edition is so fucked up and why the paper is so rippled here. No idea what happened to it in the past, but whoever had the idea to glue this paper to the actual sleeve is a fucking idiot, because I ripped it. Thank you very much for this badass design job. Anyway, this once looked really cool before it got fucked up. As I said, I can't remember what happened to it, but it once was a beautiful box and is really hardcover. It's actually really nice, but I can't even get the DVD set out. Here it is. Woman is the Future of Man, once again with UTK. And I actually really do like those white DVD boxes. They were really rare back then, but for whatever reason, I really do like them. Maybe simply because I'm a sucker for the color white. I buy all my stuff in white if available. So naturally, I really do love the DVD packaging here. And it actually comes with a soundtrack CD, as it seems. I cannot remember that. And actually it has some cool goodies. It actually comes with a part of film from the movie. That is really cool. And we do have a small booklet here. Great edition. I'm really sad that it kind of got fucked up. Silmido, a very strong Korean war-themed movie with a top cast. Sol Kyung-gu and An Sung-gi are just two to name. Directed by Kang Woo-seok and awarded with multiple prizes, and rightfully so. If you like war-themed movies, I would definitely recommend that to you. Very well made, high quality movie. This is once again a Hong Kong release of the movie, but it is coming in a sleeve, so it looks pretty neat and fancy by Universe. Actually one of the bigger Hong Kong DVD labels. They actually do have really decent releases. So let's have a look inside that one too. Once again, the cover motif for the movie Silmido. This is the back side, and it is probably just a one disc. No, it is actually a 2-disc edition. That is very neat. So, even though it's just a Hong Kong edition, looks very gorgeous. And maybe before we move on to the next movie, I say just a Hong Kong edition, not because I do believe stuff from China sucks, but unfortunately it is often like that Hong Kong releases of Korean movies are really substandard compared to the elegant and stylish Korean releases, and also, unfortunately, a lot of Korean movies are cut for their Hong Kong releases. We're going to see a few of them at the end of the video, I guess. The first masterpiece of Na Hong-jin, The Chaser, a very brutal, a very gritty, but an amazing and stylish thriller, really suspenseful, keeps you on the edge of your seat, and it already showed that Na Hong-jin is a very talented, amazing director. I really love that movie, as well as multiple other releases by him, such as Yellow Sea, another great film by this director. He was also the director of Goksong, The Wailing is the English title, and that was another amazing film. This version here is yet another German version. This is the German Tin Box Special Edition. It really is a gorgeous piece. It's a nice little thingy to have in your collection. And this is basically the inside. A bit dark. I hope you can see the motifs a little bit. I think you can see it. And this is the disc, and I think that's pretty much it for this edition. Looks neat, and it is an amazing movie, as mentioned. Another Korean Kim Ki-duk box with two of his later movies, Breath and Time. I really enjoyed Breath, not so much Time. Time is probably, at least in my opinion, one of the worst Kim Ki-duk movies. But I do wanted to have Breath on DVD, and the box was actually quite cheap, so I just got that one. And I actually do like this box. It is a neat little box, and inside that box we have the two movies in DVD cases. So this is Time as a single disc edition, and this is Breath, I do believe, also as a single disc edition. Yep, this is one of the first Korean movies I ever did see. I think it was released in 2003. It's called Wildcard. It is a very strange genre mix. It is kind of like a serious cop movie, but then again with a lot of comedic elements. It has a love story in it. It is also a thriller and kinda-ish detective movie. It has some mild action, so it is really a weird piece. It is not a great movie by any standard, but maybe just because it is so unique, it got me hooked. And the actual cover or packaging is not really that dark. It's another one of those glossy mirror covers that we saw before with Wet Dreams 2. And this edition easily shows you how quickly those decay when you don't treat them right. So it really lost all the substance and color, which really sucks. This looked really great when I got it new. But anyway, this is the cover of the Wildcard 2 disc edition, Korean edition. This is the back side, and here is the actual DVD. I really don't like the cover art, not because of the picture, but the design is all over the place. But yeah, I guess that fits the movie. It is all over the place, but it is not a bad movie. Like I said, it is not a great movie by any standard, but it is an enjoyable movie if your standards are not that high, I would say. I don't know, like I said, it just was so weird and all over the place that it really kind of caught my attention. And as I said, it was one of the first Korean movies I ever saw, so there's some kind of nostalgia involved. It is now 16 years since I first saw this movie. Another movie that comes in this very glossy KD Media packaging is Into the Mirror. Anyway, Into the Mirror is one of my favorite Korean horror movies. It is a very slow-paced psychological horror with great and strong images, again with a very good Yoo Ji-tae in the main role. And I also do believe it was the inspiration for the US movie Mirrors by Alexandre Aja. I have no idea how to pronounce that guy. Although those movies apparently have nothing in common. I have not seen Mirrors, so I cannot really say something about that, but apparently they are really different movies. But as far as I know, or as far as the legend goes, Mirrors was originally announced as a remake of Into the Mirror. Again, this edition of mine looks very fucked up by now. I'm really sad about this one because I really love that movie and I really love that edition. What's really cool about that edition is that it comes with an actual script of the whole movie. So this is the Korean script of the film, which I think is really, really cool. And obviously the packaging really suits the movie because, as you can see, all you can see is my dumb face now, but as you can see, it is an actual, mirror packaging. So it is an actual mirror, as you can see. And that is actually really fitting for a movie that is about mirrors that kill people. And this really sounds like a dumb idea, but the movie is awesome. So this is the script, and here is the main DVD packaging. Again, in this silvery, glossy packaging. Yuchite and his reflection on the cover. Here's the backside, again, looks like a mirror, really cool. And here we have the actual DVD set. I do believe yet another 2-disc edition. Backside. And the inside, disc 1, disc 2 with the extras. And as mentioned, very slow paced but brilliant psychological horror movie. If you like those kinds of movies like The Ring, for example, also, you will dig that movie. I highly, highly, highly recommend that one. Slow paced, probably too slow paced for some people, but it is a small masterpiece if you ask me. For a long time, especially in the 2000s, Korea was known for their excellent horror flicks. This is not one of them. This is Byun-shin Saba, a story that involves a Ouija board. I honestly cannot remember the plot, but I also do not think it is a good movie. I think back then I thought it's mediocre, and in all honesty, I have no idea why I bought that movie. I'm not saying it is bad, but yeah, you can definitely get way better horror movies out of Korea. This one really came out at the height of the Korean horror wave in the 2000s, and the director of this movie continued to do some more films. I think also Phone with Ha Ji-won and Apartment, which were all better movies than Byun-shin Saba, I do believe. But I give it that one. It has a really nice packaging. I really do enjoy the packaging. And actually, I do think I'm going to watch that movie again because I cannot remember anything. It really looks neat. It is a gorgeous packaging, don't get me wrong. It really looks awesome. And I think I really give this one another shot. I really want to see it again. So I'm actually curious about the back motif here. Give me a second. Oh god, this is one of those horror packagings where you don't get the DVD out. Alright. Okay, anyway, this was Byun-shin Saba. I do not necessarily recommend it, but if you're into horror flicks, you might want to give it a try. This indie art house drama, I think, was both the debut for director Lee Young-gi and actress Kim Ji-soo. I really do love Kim Ji-soo in this movie, and the movie is called Yoja Chong-hee, or the English title, This Charming Girl. It is actually just a small drama about this working girl Chong-hee that gets fed up with her monotonous life. That is basically the whole gist, but it is a small, beautiful production. And it is also a small, beautiful release for that movie. I'm really glad that movies like that found a release like that, because it is another classy first press limited edition. Here's Kim Ji-soo. It is a 1-disc edition with a small booklet. And that's it pretty much. Another indie art house movie, another coming of age story, My Generation, completely shot in black and white, a very sensitive movie. This is, however, another movie I cannot remember much about. I saw it once, I can remember that I really liked it, but this is probably another movie that I have to watch again just to get into it and to remember what it was actually about. But I really do liked it, and this is another lovely 2-disc edition. Here is the disc for the special features, and the main feature is on the film disc, and it comes with quite a thickish booklet. So always great to see that indie art house movies like that one get such a really cool release. When I saw this movie, I never expected it to be that good. This one is called Kwacha, or the English title Helpless, with actress Kim Min-hee. I actually do really like her. And the film is based on a Japanese novel. It is a thriller, and it is about this guy looking for his missing fiancée. But I'm not going to tell you more about it because it is a really neat story with a lot of twists and surprises, and I actually really recommend to give this one a go. It's a really cool movie. As I said, I really didn't expect it to be that good when I first watched it. I watched it and I immediately ordered the DVD set for this one. This, I do believe, is not a limited first edition version of the movie. I could be wrong, but I don't know. But nevertheless, still a very neat looking edition. Another highly recommended drama, Doya, or A Girl at My Door, featuring two of the greatest Korean actresses I do know. The woman on the right side, we already mentioned her, Bae-duna, who also starred in Cloud Atlas, Sense8, etc. And the other one, back then she was still a child actress, that is Kim Se-ron. And Kim Se-ron is an amazing talent. I do really love her acting. She's great, she's amazing. She is one of the biggest hopes for Korean cinema. If you're into K-pop, you might actually know her as a former host of a music show. Unfortunately, I cannot remember which music show it was, and she's also a very close friend to Red Velvet's Yeri. I think they went to school together or something. Anyway, very good drama with Bae-duna playing a policewoman that takes care of the strange little girl, Doi, who I think gets abused at home, if I remember the plot correctly. This movie is another one of those great Korean rural town stories that just fascinate me. One of those movies where the actual scenery is also one of the biggest stars, and I really do love that. Because I really do have a thing for the Korean countryside outside of the big cities. Fascinated me from the very beginning, still does. And I do believe this is another limited first press edition, coming with a beautiful sleeve, and inside we do have the DVD box with a great cover motif of our two main actresses. This is the inside, okay, actually it's just a one disc edition. And apparently it also comes with an interview book with a lot of still shots from the movie and probably some small interviews with the cast and the staff. Very nice additional goodie. The Thin Line Between Crime and Justice, another Korean thriller that I absolutely love. This one is simply called Broken in English, and it is about a desperate father who tries to find the killers of her daughter. And this movie is a constant chase, it's adrenaline non-stop. I do really love it, the pacing, the story, and it has a very strong emotional finale. Do highly recommend it for all people that are into thrillers or maybe even into revenge movies, even though this is not a very graphic movie. Again, very cool cover motif here. This is the back side, and once again in the sleeve is the DVD packaging. Also a cool cover shot here. And it is another one disc edition, but really great packaging, really great design. A movie I only saw once, Flew. I got this movie for free actually from Yes Asia, because Yes Asia has this program when you order 3 Korean DVDs, you get 1 DVD for free. They call it a giveaway version. Mostly it's just a Hong Kong version of a Korean movie. And this is how I got The Flu. It is about an epidemic in Korea that threatens to kill the Korean population. As the title says, it's some sort or some mutation of the flu. It is a mediocre film. It is sometimes a bit over the top, tries to be a bit too emotional, and sometimes it has those weird plot moments, so it's not really a movie I would recommend, but it's also not a movie that sucks. It's a decent mediocre title, I would say, and as mentioned, this is the Hong Kong release of the DVD. I have no idea if that movie is cut or not, but it probably isn't, because There's not a lot of things in there that would be cut worthy, but with Hong Kong releases, especially from companies like KAM, you can never be sure. Anyway, this is the inside, rather simple. So as you can see, this has nothing of the style and elegance of the Korean releases. It's just a cheap DVD box, no booklets, nothing. But at least it has a sleeve and it makes it kind of special, I guess, unlike the movie. In stark contrast to that is this movie, Ki-duk or Moss, the English title. Very strong piece, very strong thriller about a very weird town and one guy that tries to get behind the secrets of that town. I do believe this movie is over 3 hours long, but you never feel like it is too long. Again, yes, this is slow paced, but this is just such a very well told story. And again, this is another one of my favorite thriller movies coming out of Korea. Definitely 2 thumbs up. I would recommend that movie to almost everyone. It is really great. I actually have to watch that one again. Really great suspense flick with a strong cast. If you know Korean faces, if you know Korean actors and actresses, you will recognize some of those faces here on the back. Another lovely 2-disc edition. And let's look at the motif on the back side actually, if I can get those DVDs out. It's another one of those countryside stories which I really dig. So this is Ki-duk or Moss and recommend it.